Yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of Lifestyle After 5 Radio. It's Lord Shoe X. I'm back, y'all. What it do? So today is another day in January. It's pretty much almost over. The first season of our show is pretty much over. I think we have one more episode left, and that's the end of season 1 of Lifestyle After 5 Radio. But the next season gonna be crazy though. Like we already have some wild interviews set up for the next one, like today's
Hotter.
interview. Yeah. It's just gonna keep getting better. Y'all be prepared. Also appreciate the love that everybody's showing on the show. Um, I'm not gonna say too much today. I just want to let everybody know that if you go to aliafter5.com, you can get all of our content. Everything about our website is on Google or any search platform, Bing.com. I don't know if people still use Ask Jeeves. That junk's probably gone.
That's
But
Jesus.
yeah,
They're still around? Wow.
I don't know. Let's try it out.
Showing your age.
Yahoo.com.
Not.
Well, I know, right? Shout out to 2000.
It's not.
We got a
Black
baby
Planet.
boomers. That was the
Oh,
baby
what you gonna
boomers.
what
Google.
you
Ask
Real
gonna say?
talk.
Jeeves.
MySpace.
MySpace.com. Y'all can find us
Yeah.
on MySpace.
MySpace.
Those if you still are using Ask Jeeves, you probably got the beads hanging down in your kitchen. You don't have
Mm.
doors. You have beads
Yeah,
hanging.
Yeah.
still burning
Dice
incense.
in your window, in your car window.
A roach.
And you still wearing
Yo,
but they're trying to bring
bell
Old Spice
bottoms.
back.
Nah, Old Spice is back, bro.
No,
What
it's
you
not.
mean?
They're still wearing Lee jeans.
Oh.
Yeah. Wranglers. All right, y'all. So
Maybe they
check out
want
our
that.
website and you can check out our hoodies and t-shirts. They are for sale on our website. So you can
Yeah.
find all that on there. We've been getting great reviews, so please continue to show love. Leave us comments, y'all, so we can actually, put them on the show. We actually like putting y'all comments out there. So that's all I gotta say today. Till next time, y'all. It's Lord Shoe.
My
What's
shoe.
going on? It's your favorite host, Ali and MD Red.
What up? What
And
up?
so tonight I want to introduce our guest. Her name is Amanda Velez, and she go by the alias Mandee Marquee. I
Mm.
pronounced that right. Welcome to the
Mandee.
show.
Mandee Marquee. Yes, it's Mandee Marquee. I appreciate that. Why you just put your radio voice on? It was
Hey,
so like
hey,
smooth.
you
Gotta
got to
switch
have
it
the
up.
radio base. You got to get like this, what they call the quiet storm. We have
That's
to get real.
exactly what it was.
We
need some thunder in the background.
So tell us, I'm curious to learn about you. So first of all, where are you from?
I'm from New York City. I was born in Puerto Rico, and then I lived in France for a little while, lived in the Philippines. My parents were in the military, but I've been in New
Oh,
York for over 20 years. So I'm a New Yorker.
were they Marines?
My father was a merchant marine, and my mother was in the Air Force.
Okay.
What's up, man?
So tell us about this alias that you go by. Explain a little bit about yourself and then tell us how you got into this alias.
Sure. Well, Mandy is a name that I grew up by. I grew up with that name. My parents call me that. My family still calls me that. But let's see, a little bit about me. I love New York. I love people. I love theater and doing as many as like going to as many events as I possibly can. So I've been attending theater for over 10 years weekly. And Mandee Marquee came about because I started with the signature tour called Drama and Discourse, where I take my guests to see a show and then we discuss it afterward over dinner and drinks. And then people were asking me for access to my tickets so that they could go along because some people are introverted, right? Some people are neurodivergent. Some
So let's back
people,
that up a little bit.
yeah,
Let's back that up a little bit. So
sure.
here you are. You've been in theater for a few years or so.
Yeah.
And you said that Mandy was a name. So they gave you this name Mandy because you used to have tours. Or did you have the name Mandee before you start doing the tours and taking people to the different tours?
Mandee was my childhood name,
So
but
how did
I
you
put
get that name? That's what I want to know. How did you get that
Mandee.
name Mandee as a
That comes
child?
from Amanda.
It comes from Amanda.
Yeah.
It's a common nickname from Amanda.
Okay,
It's a
let me get
common one.
this. So what inspired you from in theater to say, hey, I want to take some people to a show and let them see the theater of New York?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my background is actually in music. I'm a musician. I used to be a studio musician. So the worlds kind of intersect. I just started going to see shows on my own because I love it. And then I traveled a little bit and I took my daughter, I have a 20-year-old daughter, around. I took her to Greece, I took her to France. And while we were visiting those places, we stumbled upon Airbnb experiences. And Airbnb experiences is where locals take their guests around and show them around, right? Different things like food tours, walking tours, different kinds of tours. And while I was on one of the experiences, I had paid $50 for myself and my daughter, and I counted how many heads were there. There was about 20 people, so you do the math. He made a pretty penny during that night. And so I was like, I could do this in New York. And I talked to my daughter, and my daughter was like, you should take people to see shows because you have access to shows all the time. And I was just like, yeah, it's a great idea. And so then I put it up on Airbnb, and it took off from there. And then I created my website.
Mm.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're almost like international. You go overseas and you are doing tours overseas, and then you come back and you want to inspire everybody else. Now, you mentioned that you are a musician. What instrument do you play?
I play piano, keys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played very hip hop based music, R&B, funk, soul.
So you are a Alicia Keys fan, huh?
Yeah, she's okay. I actually went to school with her.
Actually, being from New York, what inspired you as a child to study theater and music?
I studied music. My my father wanted me to do something. He put me in everything you could think of, but he also told me that I could quit right after like a few tries. So he put me in ballet, soccer, anything you could think of. I was just not having it. I was like, nah. And then one day I went to my first piano lesson, and I was again like, nah, I don't want to be here. But the instructor was like, okay, you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. I mean, you have to be here, but you don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna do what I do. And she played, and she played for Elise by Beethoven, and I was taken aback by the way she played. And so then I wanted to play. So from there on, I took up piano and studied music in school.
So, are you still playing the piano?
I do, but I don't make money off of it anymore. I used to do it for a living. It's tough.
So
I
is it
made good money off of it, but it's a lot of hustling.
Mm. So what sets you apart? So I'm gonna come buy a ticket for you instead of Ticketmaster. Why would I do that?
My tickets are almost always over 50% off.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a network of people that I know in New York, and believe it or not, there's a lot of free tickets just hovering about.
Mm.
Interesting. I was trying to know that when I went to New York, I would have loved to have seen a show because I've never seen a Broadway show on New York. I was inspired, and as I walked down Times Square, well, off Times Square, and seeing the different shows and stuff that's advertised. Now, is there a certain type of what's the word I'm looking for? Genre of shows that you specialize in, or is just like all over the spectrum?
As for genres, no. I heard you say Broadway shows, but I normally like to take my guests to see off Broadway shows. I just
Mm.
feel
Okay,
like
Broadway, off
there's
Broadway. That's
feel
what I
like
mean. Okay.
there's more truth told in off Broadway. Broadway is great, but it's super expensive and it's almost elitist and classes in a lot of ways. So they don't always tell the whole story. Um, yeah, so I like to take them to see off Broadway shows.
Now,
If,
does that include like opera? And you gotta, I'm not a New Yorker, so you gotta educate me. So when you, when with your shows, is opera included? Like what's some of the shows that a person
yeah,
can expect with you?
that's a great question. Every now and then I do get access to opera shows, and I'll put it up on the site. I don't normally take my guests to see opera shows. I only take my guests to see theater because the tour is about discussing it afterward. And
Mhm.
so something that is story based. I mean, opera is story based as well. But
So
if I get access, I'll put it up on the website.
now, when someone buy a ticket and they go see the show, and then you go discuss it over dinner afterward, is the dinner included in the ticket, or it's
Yeah.
the show is over, you pay for your own chicken and waffles if that's what you want to eat?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's not included in the ticket. But that's a great question.
I can see how that can be very fun and entertaining. Is there a certain restaurant typically that everyone go, that you have a connection with, that everybody go?
No, I just take them to wherever is the closest restaurant nearby because we're usually leaving around 9 or 10 in the evening.
Hmm.
And and I know they say New York is the city that never sleeps, but a lot of restaurants are closed at that time. So
Well,
there's
you know
like
what they say.
cafes.
Okay, that's great. New York may never sleep, but you better get some rest, especially if you have to get up and go to work in the morning.
Absolutely.
I
So
can
it
see.
sounds like you trying to like you selling an experience. What's your feedback on that? Like you get positive feedback from the people?
It's definitely an experience. That's actually what they call it. Airbnb experiences.
Mm.
Do I get positive feedback? I I do. People love it. I mean, people love going to theater in general, but some people travel alone, right? They
Mhm.
like to be able to go with someone else.
When you say
It
Airbnb,
enhances. Mhm.
y'all like staying in one house?
No, so Air that's that's so funny. Now Airbnb has its own like I guess, sub brand.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, they have the Airbnb housing,
Okay.
and then they
Okay.
also have the experiences. So if you ever go on
Hmm.
like TripAdvisor or like buy a tour where you can, if you're traveling and you're looking for like something to do,
Hmm.
a tour or something, Airbnb has their own version of that.
I had no idea.
A lot of people don't.
Actually, I didn't either.
Mhm.
So that's very interesting. Now, who kick out? Is there a theme? Well, I know that you talk about the show, the theme with obviously the show that you just watch when you go out to dinner. So, are you responsible for like kicking that conversation off,
Yeah,
or is it open topic?
that's a really great question. I am a pretty social person, and I think a lot of people do believe that it is my job, but some people are also like they want to kind of like size me up and challenge me, and they'll as soon as we leave,
Oh.
they'll be like, "So what did you think?" I thought this, blah, blah, blah," So it depends. I let it go with the flow.
You get a lot of participation. You mentioned that some of the people are introverts.
Well, the people that go on the tours with me are not introverts.
Okay.
Um, for the most part, or maybe some are, but and they're trying to open up to new experiences. But I was saying that I opened up the website so that people could take self-guided experiences in
Yeah.
case they are introverts, because everybody doesn't travel the same, everybody's not the same. Everybody doesn't
Do,
want a tour guide.
do you get a lot of repeat customers or some familiar faces?
I've gotten a few customers. That's always fun. It's always great.
That's a plus then if they come back. So
Yeah.
that means you're doing
I
something
can
right.
see how you could form a great bond doing this. I mean, you
Yeah.
go out there with a bunch of strangers, go see a show and then you come back and you start talking about the show and then you start exchanging phone numbers and then it's like, well, let's do this again. Let's all meet up with, this crew and let's take in another show and then, let's discuss this and the experience. Do you videotape any of these? Well, of course, you're not videotaping the show, hopefully, but do you videotape some of the conversations after the show or, the pre-meet before you all meet to go to the show?
I have not done that. I have not done that. Like,
Yo, that
but
could be a
who
good
knows?
YouTube channel for you.
That's not a bad idea.
That's what we do in the lifestyle. We promote good ideas.
That could be a
Yeah.
real good
We all
YouTube
in our
channel.
journey. Yeah, you definitely should share some of those deep conversations. You don't
I
want to give them
actually,
all, but give us just a taste of what these conversations are about.
I
Yeah.
actually thought about opening up virtual discussions for people who
Yep.
don't, want to come up or spend as much money, as it, spend as much as it costs to go with me. But that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
The
'cause
thing
you
about
can
the
To
add
take
those,
virtual
that
is
on.
how would
those
they
to
see it?
the website.
And I mean, unless it's a Netflix show or the show is virtual, I mean, or someone is already traveled to New York
You saw the
to see
show.
the show.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that before I was doing this, I was and am hosting a very popular film discussion group. It's
Oh, really?
popular in my community and not your community, the lesbian community. So we discuss lesbian films and we watch them beforehand and then we discuss them. So it's funny that you mentioned that.
Hey, we connected here with lifestyle. We read our guests. We get into your mind, into your soul. That's another interesting fact because I didn't realize that that even existed. I mean, I guess with everything else it would.
Right.
Well, I hadn't seen a lot of film discussion groups before I started mine. I started mine during the pandemic and it's been going strong ever since. But I just figured some people don't like to read books, right? Like there's book discussion groups. Some people like
Mhm.
film. I love film.
Okay.
So why not just watch a film and then discuss it instead of reading the whole damn book? And I mean, it's book discussions, book groups are fun too, but some people are pressed for time, and so
We all press the time.
Now I can imagine. I can imagine that could be wild.
Yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall at one of those conversations.
yeah, it's fun.
Now,
Yeah.
is it lesbian only or is open to all the LBGTQ?
It's open to everyone. You don't have to be a lesbian, but you have to like lesbian films. But the majority of my participants, and I would say 90%, are lesbians. And
I would imagine so.
yeah, because first of all, I started on Meetup. Now we have our own private group. But when people see the word lesbian, they think it's a dating. Like when lesbians see it, they think it's a dating
So
opportunity.
do you get a lot of straight guys trying to get into the group?
Yep.
Now,
We
how
did.
is that experience?
Yeah, we have to. I have to change some things in our monitor and ask people to show themselves on screen for a brief moment, not for the entire time, but
So what
let
is
us
showing
know who you are.
what? Yeah. So, but by showing on screen, what does that show? I mean, it may show how besides how they look, because some people can disguise even on camera, can
Yeah,
disguise
people
their intentions in themselves.
they don't go that far. They don't go that far into it. Once they realize that we are having like actual intellectual conversations, they're
Mhm.
like, nah, there's nobody in here I really want to mess with.
That's interesting.
So how
I
old you
would,
said your daughter was?
My daughter's 20.
Wait a minute, hold on.
wait a
You said
minute.
20?
I thought she said that. I thought that
Oh,
was a
hold
mistake.
on, hold on, hold on.
When
Oh,
she
I
said
did it
she said that
too.
earlier. I know.
That's
No,
why I
no,
came
we
back
got
to
to.
it. You said you got a 20-year-old daughter? Hold on, I'm trying to look at this camera. Go back to
That's
your
what I'm saying. To
Yeah,
our listeners, you can't see her, but
ain't
you
no
not
way
gonna
in hell.
believe that when she said that. I heard her the first time. She said my daughter's 20, and I was like, oh, she means
Yeah.
20 months.
I
Oh, that's what I
appreciate
did. I
that.
had to correct myself. I'm like, yeah, she must have a
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
20-month-year-old daughter.
This your biological daughter.
Biological.
Ain't no way in hell.
I
No,
I
appreciate
don't want
that.
to talk no more.
no.
I'll
What
take the
you
What's
need
credit
up,
to
as
be,
man? That's
long as I
impressive.
can. Thank
Cause
you.
I've rather as you look like you about 20.
you look like you're 20 yourself. You need to be
Yeah.
selling some type
Real.
of skin cream or
Yeah, what's them secrets?
Nah, it's
Tell
just the
them.
light.
something
It's
of
the
you.
lighting. It's the lighting.
No, ain't no lighting. We've
Nah.
been around a lot of
Hell
people.
no.
There's not no lighting.
I'm
Yeah.
squinting and
It's
everything. Damn that.
the water. Water. Drink
Well,
water.
you need to be selling that water after
Hell
the show. It
yeah.
need to be give them the water, watch the show, water again while they eat.
You know,
What's
I
up,
love
man?
how Black people, they still do that. They still hype people, other Black people up about how young
Bro,
they look. And it's like
you look
they know
amazing
because they
to
know
have a
what they look
20-year-old
like and
daughter.
they still do it. It's the best thing.
That's
Isn't it the best
crazy.
thing?
Tell the truth. We just tell the truth. I mean, because that's the opposite was true. I mean, there's some situations where,
Like,
you'd be like,
damn,
I'm 20
how old are
years
you?
old, and be like, damn, you got to be lying. You look like you about 48.
Aw,
So I mean, the
Wow.
opposite is true too. So I mean, it's just if we just tell the truth.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
that.
Sometimes that truth is painful,
I just been waiting to ask like, wait, she said she had a 20-year-old daughter.
I met a guy. Well, I didn't meet him. A guy I know that I thought was about 60 something. He was like, "Yeah, I'll be 50 in a couple of years." Next, 50. Damn, thought you had seen
Papa
50
Smurflet,
years
man.
ago.
Man,
Like, damn.
That's what's up, man. So the
yeah, I
concrete
appreciate that.
jungle has done you well.
Yeah, especially living, yeah, the stress of New York.
Right. It's got to be stressful to live in New York.
It is. I think I'm used to it now, but it is.
That's what's up.
It's
So you say, how long have you been living in New York?
over 20 years.
Oh,
Over
definitely.
20
So yeah,
years.
you're a native. So being Puerto Rican, do you go back to Puerto Rico often?
Not too much anymore because there's no, family there anymore.
Mm.
I just heard the other day that it's being gentrified a lot because they removed all the taxes from buying property. And I was like, maybe I'll go gentrify.
This is
Although
like
I
a
was
Puerto Rican
born
culture in New
there,
York too, right?
but I
No
just a
taxes
joke.
and buying property. Wow.
Yeah, they're
Mm.
doing that on purpose. They want foreigners to come and
But New York is
buy.
big on the Puerto Rican culture though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot of Puerto Ricans in there.
yeah. They kind of Boricua.
Yeah, Boricua, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
That's what's up.
when I asked,
How about
and,
Atlanta? Do you guys have a lot of Puerto Ricans?
Mm,
uh,
I don't know.
uh,
You know,
some.
it's so spaced out, right?
I
There's
Yeah,
so
don't
much
yeah.
think
space.
Atlanta has a big Puerto Rican culture here.
Definitely not like because y'all have parades and everything in New York, right?
They got with Dominicans in Atlanta.
Why is that everything is like
We
candy
have
shop? Is he talking about like
Mexican.
Wu-Tang? Is he talking about Wu-Tang? He said everything. He said everything is like candy shop.
He's
No,
talking in his New York terms.
yeah. I know. I say you guys have parades and stuff for Puerto Ricans in New York, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Puerto
The
Rican Day
following
Parade.
well, the culture in Atlanta is probably definitely not that big. So
No, uh, no, I don't see it. I've seen a lot of Puerto Ricans in the Atlanta area. Even Georgia. I mean, they may be around. I just haven't seen it. Like I
Right.
said, I've seen Dominicans and other Hispanics. I just haven't seen a big Puerto Rican
Interesting.
so what's your
following
favorite rapper
here
out of
in
New York?
Atlanta. Big
Favorite hip hop
Pun,
artist?
Big Pun,
I
Fat
would say
Joe.
Who's
Fat
my
Joe.
my favorite hip hop artist?
Yeah, out of New York. Fat Joe.
Out of New
Big
York?
Pun.
Nah. Maybe, I mean, Big Pun is in my top 5 actually, but not because
Right.
not.
Well, you know we ignorant. We're gonna say
He's
that.
very lyrical, but like my my number one is actually Black Thought.
Yeah.
Who?
Black Rob from the Roots.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just said Black Rob.
Nah, like whoa, nah,
Mhm.
You a Dipset fan?
nah. Dipset is like Harlem,
Yeah.
right? So Harlem is like another world from where
Right here.
I lived in the Bronx.
I think if I moved to New York, I would probably live in Harlem.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a cool place to live. Yeah, it's very stylish, very flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Main
So
Street.
Mm.
now that you got your tour business, what I call it, the Airbnb of shows going in New York, do you ever see maybe turning it into maybe a travel tour or moving that to other cities, maybe spanning out to the New Jersey area
Yeah.
or
So
further?
so I mean, I'm basically in the place to be for theater.
You are.
Hmm.
New York
Definitely are.
is really, there's no other place that has as many venues and stages as New York
Hmm.
does. I mean, Russia actually, I've recently found out has about 60 to 70 stages. Um, but New York has over 120.
I guess a better question would be, do you foresee yourself expanding into other things
Outside of theater.
outside of New York?
No, I love New York. I mean, the expansion itself was the website opening up
Mm-hmm.
my access to tickets to people instead of just taking them on tours. I
Mm-hmm.
recently just hired a co-host, so I'll be able to take more people out on more tours, matinees now.
That's what's up.
Because I work during the day, so my co-host, who's an actor, will take my guests at that time. Um, I don't know how I would expand, but you never know.
Yeah.
That's dope,
Mm.
man.
You got to go worldwide, got to go global, use your imagination, you never know where your imagination will lead you to and what further opportunities are out there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that.
I definitely got to
Man,
check
New
out
York is
your
definitely on my travel
website
list.
because next time I go to New York, I do want to check out some shows.
You are welcome. Just hit me up. You're in there. Completely calm.
Now, are your shows
Come
like,
in.
do you have shows like every day or is it like on the weekend or?
Yeah, there's a show every day. I mean, in terms of what I have access to, maybe not. Maybe about 3, 4 times a week, I get access to different shows that
Now,
I'll put up on my website.
you say 3, 4 times a week, 2, 3 times a week. Are your shows mainly on the weekend or do you have any weekend shows?
Yeah, they are mainly on the weekends. Yeah, Thursday
Awesome.
through
Awesome.
Thursday through Sunday is the big hitters. Broadway actually takes off on Monday, so I also take off on
Didn't know that. No, Broadway.
It sounds like some interesting stuff, man. Like something I might want to check out for real.
Monday. Yeah,
We've been looking at a trip to New York for a while, so just give me
yeah,
another reason to make that happen.
yeah.
Yeah,
Lifestyle After 5
I'd
does New York.
I'd love to host
like
you guys if you come
that'd be
through. Let
dope,
me
man.
know. I'll host you on a day. Yeah.
And don't tempt us because we'll be there.
How long the bus ride is? I'm just playing.
No.
I'm scared of
It's
planes.
The
it's
show will be
long, but it's
over
doable.
by the time he get there. We'll be there and seen 2, 3, 4 shows by the time you get there. We just spent a couple of days there already. You get there and get to enjoy maybe one show, and then you got
I'm
to
ready to
start
go home
heading
when I
back.
show.
Right. Yeah.
Nah, we gotta
Exhausting.
look into that,
Traveling.
man.
Exhausting. Yeah.
Now, beside,
Have you ever seen a live show? It didn't have to be theater, but or
See some
Broadway.
plays.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How's it in Atlanta? How
does Medea count?
But, nah, I didn't see him a deal
Tyler
play.
Perry, that's our here in Atlanta. Tyler Perry, Medea,
it
that's our
counts?
theater.
It
That's our
counts.
off Broadway show in Atlanta.
Oh
Is
yeah.
is Medea.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I actually
Tyler
have
Perry.
two younger cousins that actually take care of their high school, so they put plays on. So I went and watched one of theirs. It was actually pretty
Nice.
good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I love
Like,
that.
So the hard work they put into it paid off. It was actually a good show. I was kind of hesitant at first. I was like, let me go support. Then I ended up liking it. So yeah,
Nice.
see myself
So
watching, another play. Maybe not.
so walk me through the experience. I'm sitting here in Atlanta. I've never been to a show, and I'm curious. I got a trip coming up, so I want to hit you up. What is that process like? So first of all, what is your website?
Oh, the website is Mandee, MAND Marquee,
Hmm.
MARQUEE.com.
So
And
go
so
on there.
so you'll open up the calendar, you'll click on the button that says book a guided tour with Mandee,
Hmm.
and you'll pick the date that you want, and then you'll get a very short survey, 4 questions, asking you your email address, what kind of shows you like experimental, drama, comedy, etc. Um, and what time you prefer, whether it's a matinee or an evening show. And then I get back to you in a timely manner, and then you book
So
from
do you get
there.
back? You contact them by telephone or email?
Email. Or
So
they can
you
also leave their phone number. We can also
okay.
text. Yeah.
So you get in there, you email them back.
hmm
And so what forms of payment? How is that transacted? So it's credit card,
Yeah.
PayPal, WhatsApp.
I think the software accepts credit card and Venmo and Apple Pay. Not
Okay.
PayPal.
So basically you get back with them, they discuss it, you send them an invoice and I guess a link that they can pay for the tickets.
Yeah. Well, before that, I figure out what type of theater they like, what kind of shows they like, and then I give them some options. Not too many options. I don't like, I guess, to be overwhelmed, but I'll give them 2 or 3 options on what
Mhm.
show they want to see. Sometimes they say, you know what, I want you to choose. I want you to use your expertise. And some people like to choose. Some people like to have the choice. And then
Now,
we go.
is most of the shows like in one location or they
They're
could be all over
mostly
New York?
they're mostly in the theater district, which is in Times Square.
Times Square, okay.
Yeah, my least favorite place to go, except for the fact that I have to go there because here that's where all the venues are.
That's your least favorite place?
As a New Yorker,
I
tourist
can, yeah, that's
wise,
what I'm saying. I can see that as a New Yorker, I can understand
Mhm.
that because I am not a New Yorker by any means, and I went to visit, and I don't understand how people drive through Times Square. I mean, literally,
you
you,
shouldn't drive
you,
there. You
yeah,
shouldn't.
you can't, you just can't. And I definitely don't. Well, I don't recommend drinking and driving at all, but I definitely don't see how anyone can drink a party in Times Square, get behind a wheel, and try to navigate that.
No, you shouldn't.
That his
Way
that
too touristy.
traffic
What's
and
the problem with Times Square?
it's it's just compact. It's horrendous. I mean, you just got people from all over the world in one square
That's like the main
at Times
tourist place.
Square, and then you got cars. That New Yorkers already. I mean, I've never been to a place where they just make it's a lane. Okay, it started off a 4-lane highway, but then as you driving somewhere, hell, it's a 2-lane highway, and the other 2 lanes is parking. And
Yeah.
then you make a turning lane somewhere in there if you lucky. Eh, I mean, it may take you 3 hours to go 5 miles
Mhm. Yeah, in
Wow.
during
that
rush
area.
hour.
Yeah.
I don't
And
get it.
then the foot traffic. So if you don't drive,
And then you got the foot traffic, and
oh my goodness, it is
yes, yeah,
incredible. The
you
foot traffic
just have
is
to be
crazy.
there. You
That
just
sounds
have to.
scary.
It's one of the things you have to see, be there, and experience,
But
and
I'm
catch one
not
of her shows.
discouraging you. I'm not
No,
discouraging you to go to that neighborhood. It's worth
what I'm saying is you should
it.
stay. If you go to Times Square, stay in Times Square.
Sure, that's a good idea.
That's what I did. I mean, last time I stayed across, or you got another option. You can stay in Jersey and take the ferry over. That was the first time I took the ferry over from New Jersey. Little cheaper option, but I think the ferry has a cutoff time, and so you
Yeah,
can't stay out too late.
that's
You
true.
better be looking at the clock, or you're gonna have to find you a taxi or swim.
So you've been to New York a few times.
Well, I did. Well, I used to live in Maryland, so I drove over when I lived in Maryland a few times and checked New York out and enjoyed it. So being a Southern boy was one of my things to see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
So I was, cause I'm an 80, well, 70s baby.
Mm.
I'm like, but I guess I am if Jay-Z can say he's an 80s baby, I guess I can
Hold on,
too.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. No, no, you can't, bro.
I'm like Jay-Z, I'm an 80s baby or whatever.
Is
So,
Jay-Z saying that? He's
yeah, he
saying
said
he's an
that in a
80s baby?
song.
He used to
Yeah, he
say.
said that
Oh,
in a
okay.
song.
He said it in the song.
He said it in a song. But no, it used to be this big thing where the North and the South, where we had no desire to see New York.
Mm-hmm.
So now that
Closest I've been is DC. So,
Mhm.
well,
but I
drive
do
on up
plan
another, what is it,
about
4 hours,
3 hours.
2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Go on
Yeah.
up another 4 hours and see the Big Apple. Take a
Oh,
bite
definitely. At least
and,
one.
and see it. I mean, the energy there, I will say, in Times Square in New York is crazy. I mean, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and stores are still open.
Yeah.
Forever 21 is still open.
Yeah,
Two,
so
three
I know I
o'clock in
gotta
the
have a
morning.
bag when I go to New York. I gotta have a bag.
Oh yeah, you better bring your money.
You gotta have
But
a
I'm planning on
bag.
shopping. I'm planning on shopping.
Yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah,
crazy shopping.
you better bring your money because it is expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, it
It is
is.
not cheap. The only thing cheap, I won't say cheap. The only thing budget cost effective is going to be Mandee tours.
Yes.
Hey.
There
That's
you
the only
go.
thing you're going to find on a
You're
budget there in New York.
actually right about that.
It's funny, man. We was looking at that trip, and we was looking at the Waldorf Astoria, the state. I was like, bro, I'm not going there. I can't stand there. That shit high.
Oh.
That shit like $3,000 a night.
Mhm.
I'm good.
It's called the Waldorf. Stick to your Marriott and Motel 6 and Triple Eight. True Super 8, they'll leave the light on for
Trying to
you.
be like, I'm trying to be like
Good.
five. Catch me at the Ritz Carlton.
Yeah. It's tough.
So
It's tough living
what
in New York.
it is. So what's some of your favorite tours shows you've been to
Wow.
that you would recommend?
That's a great. I've seen so many shows. So many shows. I see a show, see 1 to 2 shows a week.
Damn.
And the shows are constantly rotating. So even if I were to recommend a show to you right now, it might not even be, open.
Mm.
But I recently saw a show called Jonah last week, and that was a really great show. It's very layered and complex. I like a surprise ending. So this one had a surprise ending, and the dialogue was really good. It was very well written, and the star was a Black woman. She did a phenomenal job.
You get a
So
lot of men clients wanting to see shows.
believe it or not, there are. The majority of my guests are women, um, but I get a lot of families, and the husbands and the fathers are the ones whose idea it is to take their family to see the show. And they're very like they participate quite a bit during the discussions. So there's actually quite a few.
Maybe you should have a pre-discussion to hype everyone up.
Well, actually, before we see the show, they meet me about 15 minutes, you know, before curtain call, and I give them some facts, some fun facts about Broadway and off Broadway, and I give them a little history of the venue. Um, to kind of be, on brand of what a tour guide is, because I'm not a traditional tour guide. So we do that. and
Now,
and that,
do everybody sit together or they spread out once they get into the show?
oh, that's a great question. I always make sure I get tickets that are next to each other. I always want us to sit together.
Awesome. That's a great conversation. So, for a person that's never been to a show or seen anything theater on or off Broadway, how can you convince them? What do you think? There's no right or wrong answer. It's the benefit that what is something that a person would get out of going to see a live show?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I know, you know, most people are into film and into convenience. I don't know, maybe the pandemic changed people a little bit.
Mhm.
But for me, there's nothing like theater. There's like a magic. There's a magic about being in the theater with that particular set of audience, because the combination of people that are there is never going to repeat itself. It's not that they might come back another time, but you being there with that group, it's not going to happen again. So that particular energy is very specific. Even the show, because it's happening live, even though it's rehearsed and it's supposed to go the same every night, it doesn't. So, and it's just a magic feeling about feeling their energy and seeing them up close, like seeing them live and direct. You can't rewind it. You have to be there at that moment. And so, yeah, I mean, if you want
So
to experience that, if you want to
listening to you
experience
explain that, it sounds like you need to be on stage.
no, I'm good. I've been on stage, but I'm good. I like to be a spectator now.
Yeah,
Happy being a spectator.
seems like
We
you still
need more
get
spectators.
goosebumps.
No, we need more spectators than performers.
When I think
Everybody's around.
when I think of shows, I think of like middle-aged white men and women, and they got their wine and smoking jackets in their hand, and they're talking very proper. Oh, I seen what was Scarlet. This is like my fifth show, To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh,
You
I
got a tux
thoroughly
on.
enjoy. That's the way I kind of picture the conversations going. Oh, yes, I seen To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, we seen that a couple of years ago. I can't wait to catch the next show. And then I'm going to take a cruise, a 30-day cruise around the world. And that's the kind of way I think most of the people from my culture may think the vision that we get when we think of going to a show.
I got you. I hear you.
So
I hear
shed
you.
a little light on that.
I mean,
I just don't see Ray Ray with the hoodie going in
I
and
drink I drink wine. I love wine, but do I look like a white 40-year-old guy? I
I'm
mean,
no, not at all. You
no,
look
no,
like a
that's
young 20-year-old Puerto Rican.
well, thank you. No, I mean that's funny that you say that because that's the whole point of MandeeMarquee.com is to give access to everybody. Everybody deserves to see theater. Everybody deserves. I don't know if
that's,
you saw
that's why you
everybody.
on here right now in the interview because we want to
That's
Fact,
bring
this is why
light.
we bring this to our culture
We
because
want to
our
bring light
culture,
to our culture, man.
yeah, culture.
so
We bring it to our culture.
so Broadway is expensive. It is expensive. And so yes, you're absolutely right. There are a certain demographic that of people who will be there more consistently than others. That's how it goes. But that is the point of Mandee Marquee is to give everyone access. $15 tickets, sometimes $12 tickets.
No, I'm there.
You can't beat that,
I can't.
So
You can't even get in a club nowadays for that.
So I want
right,
to give you a shout out just for that alone, man, just
right.
for helping people out, to
It's
experience
it's
something that they might
actually
not
all
get
about
to.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
It's
we
about
that's big of
appreciate
you.
what you're
access.
doing, bringing that to the community. That's real big.
Right.
Now, is there a dress code to come to your shows?
No, there's no dress code. At one point, you're absolutely right. There used to be people would dress up to go to theater. I'll go just like this. You don't need to, no, you don't need to get dressed up at all.
I wouldn't recommend flip flops and socks though. I would recommend you go
I ain't going with you with flip
decent.
flops and socks.
Don't yeah, exactly. Don't embarrass your parents.
No,
Put on something decent.
yeah, but you could be comfortable.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's what's up,
We
man.
may have to come in our lifestyle shirts
Yeah,
absolutely.
to represent.
It's a
Mhm.
lifestyle. Theater is a lifestyle.
It is.
Definitely
It
is.
definitely is. Now, the closest I have came to seeing a show is Las Vegas.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if you ever been to Vegas and seen their show culture that they
Oh,
have there. I would say, and I'm not, and I could be wrong. So, besides New York, I would say maybe Vegas would be the second show capital. I could be very wrong
You mean like
on
as
that,
far
but
as
I
on
can't
performances or whatever?
performances and shows, live shows, and everything. I can't think or see another place
I can see Vegas being number
outside of New York
yeah.
for
Maybe
yeah.
Chicago.
shows.
Maybe Chicago.
Especially in the US, you're absolutely right.
Maybe
I
Chicago.
think you're
I
right.
don't never been. I've been there, but I can't remember Chicago. Chicago may have a good scene. I'm not sure.
Chicago does have some pretty good theaters. They do, but not as many as New York, and definitely not as many as Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from what I know, Vegas is more about musical performances. Am I
Hmm.
right or
I
no?
guess too, and I'm blending it, and you know, you have to excuse some of my ignorance because I'm blending as I'm learning. I'm blending musicals, opera, and shows. To me, they all fit in the same genre.
So
Yeah.
go ahead and correct them real quick.
Yeah, go. Yeah, feel free to correct me.
I mean, they intersect. I will say that operas, music, live music, and musicals intersect. But then there's also straight plays where
Hmm.
there is no music at all, and it's all the dialogue, right? And they don't even have to be Elizabethan like Shakespeare. They don't even have to be that old English type of shows. They could be very modern.
You said old
Um,
English. I'm gonna drop a clues bomb for that.
La, 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 la.
oh, old English. That's funny. That's funny. I have a funny story about that. On my first
Really?
date with my partner,
Hmm?
they were so nervous that they wanted to order uh, um, a old fashioned. But they told
Mm.
the waiter, "Can I get an old English?" And he was just looking at each other like, "What? Where did they
That's
have old
Crazy.
English in the restaurant?" And we knew what she meant, but
Yeah.
we
see,
Funny you
just
say that, man. I had my first
women
old
think
fashioned
differently.
Saturday,
Wo- Women
Friday.
think women think differently from men because as a man, if I'm sitting down with a woman and we're on a date and she order old English, I'm gonna start smiling.
I'll
Check,
be like, "I'm gonna
please.
marry her. You're gonna
It's
marry
about
her
to be
on
wild
spot."
up in
Check, please. It's going down tonight. She want that old English? Oh boy.
here.
We gonna eat real fast here.
Wait, so am I confused? Is old English something other than a 40 ounce? Are you talking
No,
No,
about
it
the
is a
40?
40 ounce.
no,
That's what I'm
no, it
saying.
is.
If
Oh,
your woman guzzling down 40 ounces, oh, it's finna go down.
yeah,
Oh,
she ordered
okay.
40 ounce for her dinner shit. It's
40
gonna be
ounces
up.
and
But
yeah. She,
they don't have that at restaurants.
Nah, they
She
don't.
she
uh,
she meant an old
well, maybe in
fashioned.
California. I don't know, Louisiana.
LA.
You go to New Orleans, you might can get an old English at a restaurant. Hell, you can
Uh,
get a fifth of liquor at the damn
Big
drugstore.
pound of
Hell, in the
schlitz malt
club, you can
liquor.
get a fifth of liquor. So yeah,
Schlitz malt
maybe
liquor.
New Orleans. They may
That's
have it
crazy.
for you. But no,
Nah,
I mean,
old fashioned, yeah. Like I said, I tried my first old fashioned Friday while we was out. It's pretty good.
what do you
Yeah,
mean
yeah. It's one
Friday?
of
Yeah,
my
Friday
favorites.
was your first old fashioned, wasn't it? Didn't
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
fix one?
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, congratulations.
But do you like whiskey,
No,
bourbon? No?
I love
that's my
whiskey.
first
That's
time
all I
trying, but
drink is
we were smoking
whiskey.
cigars. And he was like,
Oh,
"Yo, normally people order this with cigars." So I said, "Let me try the old fashioned." And I actually liked it, man. It was real good. I'm
one of
over
my
You know
cognac
this.
favorites.
drinking, but that bourbon was good.
Yeah.
So
Now, like you said, and I know you said that a lot of shows change out frequently, and which is great. especially for the New Yorker. But for somebody like me, I'm just curious as what you would recommend, or is it a certain genre? Because for me, hell, going to the Showtime at the Apollo in New York, I was gonna put in that as, oh, I went to New York and seen a show. I went to the Apollo.
Yeah.
That's the
It's a talent show.
ghetto-ness in me. So
Not really. They have
most of
some great
us,
shows that they pop.
actually, they do more. See, I don't know. They do things outside of comedy.
They
That's
do.
mainly what I know it for is the comedy. So I mean, for me, I would need like a starter guide. Like,
Mhm.
what type of show would you like? Gone with the Wind. I don't think I would enjoy that.
Well,
you know,
in that case, we could open up the survey. Like I said, I give my guests a survey and ask them what type of shows they like, and I give them the options. It could be
well, that's good.
experimental
You're right.
theater,
You do get
drama.
that. You do.
It could be drama. It could be musicals. Some people like musicals. But if they still don't know, then we could have a conversation.
Awesome. So you personalize it for each guest.
It's very customized. Yeah.
That's dope.
You like a real concierge.
For beer.
Sure. Yeah.
That is awesome, and it very needed. I mean, that's a very specialized niche because I don't think there's many people doing what you do.
I've never
And
met anybody that does what she does.
I don't think there's anyone doing what I do. In New York, at least. I don't know outside of, because I've done my research to see what my competition is, and I don't have it.
As you
No,
should.
I mean, I don't think there's very much competition
Yeah, and
anywhere. I mean, for this, to be honest with you,
they take out all 50 states. Shit.
we the first to bring it. It's Lifestyle After 5
There you go.
to our listeners. We hooking you up.
New York
We
area.
got Amanda sitting here, Mandee, and she can hook you up with Broadway tickets for an affordable price while you in New York, because you're gonna spend all your money getting there and on the hotel and trying to eat. So
So true.
she's
Mhm.
gonna make sure that you can take the family and have some memories. And that's what life is all about: the experiences and memories. Your
That's
children and yourself will never forget the adventure of seeing a live show, or be able to even have that conversation. I start that conversation piece of, I actually went to New York and I went to a show, and even if you don't like it, you still get to say, I went to New York and attended a show and got the New York experience.
You
right.
never know who
Right.
you're talking to. They can lead to anything.
It
Exactly.
is. Those are like conversation pieces. And like we say all the time on this show, it's the conversations that lead to networking. And networking leads to opportunities.
Sir.
Opportunities leads to changing your life and your income.
Yes, sir.
Hmm,
So,
love
you
that.
should definitely take the first steps. Now, are you on social media?
Sure. Yeah.
What are the
Um,
socials you on? And go ahead and drop your social media handles as well.
should I put them in the chat or?
Oh, we'll put it in. It'll be, well, you can put it in the chat. It'll be on the YouTube version, but for our listeners, they won't be on the radio. They can't see your chat.
Right. So the Instagram page is at drama discourse. So
Mhm.
DRAMADISCOURSE. Don't have a Facebook page yet. Contemplating whether I want to start one.
Mm.
And the website, mandeemarquee.com. That's basically it right now.
Spell that out once again for those that's listening, just in case they missed it in the first episode, in the first part of this episode.
Yeah, Mandee Marquee is MANDEE MARQUE.
You all be sure to check out Mandee, mandeemarquee.com, and Drama Discourse at Drama Discourse on Instagram. Be sure to check her out. Check all her socials out. Like, subscribe to her, and tell her you heard about her on Lifestyle After 5. When you're in New York, definitely tell her, you heard this episode, and give her props.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
She's well due. It's well due.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I just love the fact that you had enough emotional intelligence to be able to take all your experiences of music and theater and do something to your community, give back to the community as well as other communities by offering them an opportunity to see theater. You know, that's real
Yeah.
big. I have a cousin that lives in Texas. Actually, I'm going to tell her about you because her son, which he just turned 18, he wanted to go to New York and see a show. And when I remember we were laughing about it because it's like, whoa, he got big bucks. Because some of those
Right,
shows
right.
are very expensive.
Yeah. There-
Yeah,
There's nowhere else in the world that is more expensive, and it's for no reason at all. Because even in London, which is like the second biggest theater industry, which is called the West End,
Mhm.
it's not even half the price. Like most of their ticket prices are like 70, the most is like 80. And in New York, it's always over $100. Always over $100.
per person.
American inflation.
Well, you know, we want to get paid here in the U.S. Actors got to make money too. They
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
They live in New York, so they got high rent to pay. They got that $3,000 a month rent for a 1 bedroom,
That's true.
500 square feet
Nope.
apartment. So
No, no, no.
they gotta get that money to eat and live too. So
Yeah.
I guess I can see it. I mean, well, I agree with it or not. You ever see yourself getting back on stage?
Nah,
She said she's ready.
I'm the kind of person who masters something and then I'm done and I move on to the next thing. Um, I used to be a train conductor. I had a lot of fun doing that. I did that for 7 years.
Oh, wow,
Moved on from that. I've lived a lot of, I've reinvented myself a lot of times because I think that's what life is about.
it
Um,
is the
That's
evolution.
mhm.
What's next on the horizons for Mandee?
I don't know yet. Right now, it's the theater stuff. Don't know what's next yet, but there'll be something in a few years.
It's interesting. You was a train conductor. You played the piano. You was a train conductor. You've been acting.
Shh.
Eesh. Man,
I don't even see no
now
wrinkles, bro. No
you done
stress
you did.
wrinkles at all.
I mean, I
Maybe
think
that's what your
that
secret.
might be part of it. That might be part of it. I just keeping it.
God damn.
You really should be selling beauty products.
For real.
That's actually my least favorite thing. Cosmetics
Elite.
and makeup, and you'll never see me doing that.
You
Now
don't
she's
need it.
bragging because it's all natural.
But I'm just
Nah,
saying,
I'm gone.
natural beauty.
I'm gone.
I appreciate y'all. So sweet.
That's
No, we
dope.
appreciate you, and we definitely appreciate everything that you're doing for your culture, for our culture, and all the New Yorkers around there, and people that's visiting New York City, providing an opportunity for them to show their families a good time.
And gives a little
Yeah,
culture themselves, man.
Mm,
See
That
some
is
other
very
than
much needed.
rap video.
right.
I mean, because if I was in at the time I was visiting New York, I definitely wished I had known about you because I definitely would have taken in a show.
I
Well,
think
next
everybody
time.
should at least do one.
Oh, I'm still coming. We gotta come. We gotta let New York warm up a little bit. But once New York
Yeah.
warm up a little bit, we
Yeah,
going.
You gotta go to
We gotta come
California.
see a show.
it's still cold here. It's definitely cold.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah,
The-
that's one of my least favorite thing about New York. It's how cold it gets. I mean, it's been mild for the last couple of years, global warming, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's still I like the heat. I like warm weather.
What's mild in your opinion? 20?
Well, mild winter weather
Yeah.
is like 40 and up.
Okay.
When it gets below 40,
I need 70 and up.
Yeah,
my
I need
bones are chilling. My bones
60
are
and
chilling.
above, baby.
Right. That's what I need. I need 60 and up. I need that to be happy. Yeah.
If I get in those 50s,
I
I
need
start
about 70. I need about 70, 75.
You need 80 and up. Wow, that's a lot. That's
listen, we actually got what is it? The lowest I seen this winter was like 12.
Wow,
I didn't
really?
come outside though. I didn't come
Yeah.
outside though.
Nah,
No.
don't tell me.
Well, maybe one day you'll make the journey from New York to Atlanta.
I would love to. I would love to go
But
down.
then again, I
You say
take
you
that
would
back
not.
because a lot of New Yorkers have came to Atlanta and not went back.
Mm,
And we're overcrowded. It's overcrowded right now.
it would.
You'll find a lot of your New York buddies around there. You know,
Mhm.
yo God, yo son, what up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to go.
So no,
Funny.
so yeah, Atlanta. Unfortunately, like I said, we like you, but unfortunately, Atlanta has reached its limit of people. Y'all are starting to turn Atlanta into a New York. So
Mm.
we have to limit the number of New Yorkers and Californians that visit Atlanta. And we have to tell you, come in, enjoy yourself, but then go back home.
Hell out of here.
Yeah, gotta get ain't gotta go
Got
home. You gotta
office
get the hell
space.
out of here.
What's
Georgia
the
cannot handle you.
what's the touristy stuff out there? What would I want to see?
In Atlanta?
Well, it depends on your personal. It depends on what you like. There's downtown Atlanta, and I'm gonna miss some things, so people don't crucify me. The Trap Museum, if you went to rap culture,
Wow, trap music.
Yeah, it's
that the
actually a
Trap
trap
me,
house.
yeah, there's a Trap Museum. There's a lot of hidden gems in Atlanta that you have to know about. If you like salsa dancing, they got a salsa culture. There's
Oh,
a
so
lot of
then there's
different
Puerto Rican there. There gotta be Puerto Rican where there's
Cuban,
salsa.
actually Cuban
Oh,
salsa.
Cuban. Okay, okay, gotcha.
A lot of
Mhm.
black history in Atlanta. A lot of
Yeah, a
black
lot of
history.
Black history.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of Black history, a lot of. I'm from Arkansas originally, so they said good eating. So I mean, there's eating, but Atlanta's not the best in soul food. Don't crucify me, but yeah,
No.
but it is soul food for being from New York. A lot of good soul food. It's just what we call Southern hospitality,
Yeah.
and you got to get you some sweet tea. You got to get some diabetes.
Definitely some sweet.
Yeah, you got to get some real good Georgia. Actually, there is no other tea here. Every tea is sweet here. We
Yeah.
when I'm up north, it's like you got to ask for it. It's like, oh, blue. Shoe put in the discussion. The Blue Flame Strip Club. There's a lot of strip
Fuck out of
clubs and stuff.
here.
Atlanta is known for the strip club
It
scene and a
is.
lot of
Actually,
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know that there's actually a lesbian strip club in Atlanta. That's
Yeah.
something
Oh,
I would like to go to.
we are. Well, I won't say we. Atlanta is known for the
Oh,
homosexual friendly culture,
yeah.
LGBTQ or whatever.
For the Pride Parade
Known
is
for
all
that,
the time in Atlanta, right?
huh?
They have a Pride Parade in Atlanta every
Actually,
year.
they got some Rainbow Street somewhere downtown if they still got it, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen that in pictures.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all types of alternative lifestyle clubs and stuff around Atlanta. So
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you have a ball in Atlanta. Trust
yeah, you will. You just got to
me.
find
I
it.
mean,
Atlanta's like a it's like a click. You if you whatever click you just have to link up with your clique and what you like, and they'll know where to take you.
mhm.
Interesting.
Don't sleep either like New
I
York.
mean,
They got
because
all
there are certain things that you could be in Atlanta and be like, I never knew that existed here, or that happened. But only the people that roll in that type of life or clique, whether it's club, LBGTQ, or I don't know, even down to Cuban salsa. Well, that's been it on our time. I appreciate you coming and being a guest on our show.
Thank
You
you
all
so
know where to
much.
find us. We'll catch you all another Wednesday, next Wednesday. And then we want to thank Mandee for coming on our show.
yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
So lovely talking to you.